Hi friends, welcome back. So I want to have a chat with you about retiring, medical costs, and investing. A friend of mine recently posted something on social media just yesterday, and I was unaware of this problem. And unfortunately, it appears to not be alone. And I want to go over it, share my thoughts and gears as well. So this is the headline related to my friend's problem. This just came out just a few months ago, September 19th, 2023. So it's still an ongoing thing. But the headline is why some healthcare providers don't accept Medicare or other insurance. And again, the headline is why some healthcare providers don't accept Medicare or other insurance. This is my friend's story. He posted us on social media and I just want to go over it with you. It says here, welcome to a new medical practice reality. My wife and I are now in a hunt for a new physician, so I got to find a new doctor. Our current medical practice has informed us that as of January 2025, they will no longer be accepting Medicare or any insurance plans for payment. It's like I said, I had first have heard of this stuff. So, and this is also kind of coming in the future. So as of January 2025, so they got like less than a year to find a new doctor, I guess. Like a number of other practices around the country, they are moving to a subscription type system that requires a monthly membership payment for access medical services. And immediately reminded me, we just had this conversation about the whole FSD stuff, meaning Tesla, where, before you could just buy it to be like, hey, you own said software, etc. But now they want you to do a monthly, subscription. Many software companies out there doing that, and now it appears, I guess, healthcare providers want to, pay some sort of medical, monthly membership thing. And again, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this as well. So my friend also says here, in our case, we would need to each pay $100 a month to receive all of the medical services we now receive under Medicare and our secondary insurance for us. So it'd be the Blue Cross, I think that is, Blue Shield, yeah. The option we were given is to either join the new plan or find another medical practice. The advantages to the practice are pretty clear and understandable. They will have a steady income stream. They will not have to deal with submitting claims to Medicare and 30 or more individual insurance companies. They will not have to deal with late payments by insurance or Medicare or denied claims. They can eliminate the staff that handles insurance matters. They can deal with people who can afford the new fees, usually more wealthy and likely more healthy patients. They will eliminate older people like us who need to keep using Medicare and our secondary insurance because we see multiple practitioners. But who are retirees who depend on Social Security and pension plans for our income? He also says here, the advantages to us as patients are few, if any. The disadvantages are pretty clear. My wife and I would have to pay out of pocket another $2,400 a year for access to services that had previously been paid for by Medicare and our secondary insurance. We would still be paying Medicare premiums and our secondary insurance premiums because we use other physician services and have prescription coverage under the secondary insurance. We cannot give up that insurance coverage easily, although I guess we could try to get secondary coverage as a Medicare supplement. The problem with that is that many of the secondary insurance companies are proving to be unreliable, and even though their fees are less and what we are currently paying, we could also apply for Medicare Part D. This is like a whole complicated stuff, I'm sure. Prescription coverage, I suspect. Our income may interfere with our access to additional Medicare services. In short, we are now looking for another medical practice to accept us. Some of those I've checked have moved to the same type of payment system. So I guess he's been looking around and other people or other doctors, providers are going to this. Nothing is predictable in this medical industry at the moment. For either the practitioners or the patients, maybe it's time to start pushing for universal healthcare solutions. So it's my friend's point of view. And then to give you some context, he was a professor. I think he might have retired maybe 10, 15 years ago. They're like in their 80s, I think now, or probably 70 or 80s. I don't know the exact age. I'm still in very good shape and probably will live another 20 or so years. And I know that this kind of situation is not alone. Like I said, I saw this headline because I was like, I didn't know, healthcare providers weren't accepting Medicare. I just didn't know that was a thing. And now wanting some sort of, subscription thing from you. And then the stuff that he was talking about, I looked it up too as well. So just the paperwork to file, to claim medical care or health insurance, you got to have a bunch of people on staff if you're a doctor and phone calls, and you got to keep, resubmit stuff if the paperwork's not correct. They may not authorize it, this kind of stuff, right? So they're saying an average medical office is 14-hour weeks, doing that kind of thing. Also, this problem is going to get larger as our population ages. I mean, more people, may be in this situation. So, one of the things I always tell you guys all the time, and this is for anything in life, anticipate problems going forward, right? So that's why I try to keep you guys informed, so you're not like shocked about this kind of things happening. And just talking about future here, our projected senior population in the USA. So by 2070, it'll be about 96.9 million. So say 2040, 78.3. So essentially, we're going to be getting older as a country. We as a USA. I'm American, but I live in Korea. But this is actually not just USA. It's many countries around the world, just because of world history with the baby boomer generation. Moreover, with our current situation in our government and the budget and the deficit, I show you guys this stuff before, but it's good we're showing it again. Currently in 2024, the big costs, are Medicare, Social Security. You got to pay interest payments on the debt. You got your defense in there as well, other mandatory, non-defense. But moving forward in 2034, Medicare, interest, Social Security, there's going to be big expenses for the government, right? It's going to essentially be more than the other ones. You guys can see it right here. Medicaid is in there as well. But this is just showing you the stuff that is growing. If you take a look at our healthcare costs in the USA, and this is coming from the Peterson Institute, I show you guys their numbers all the time because they put out really good numbers. Average healthcare cost in USA is about $12,500, much more than other countries. And you guys can see like basically double of what the average of other countries are. Also, this number keeps going up. This is our national debt. So I believe this is trillion, 34 trillion. You have to actually count here, but I think that's what it is because this is thousands, millions, billions. Yeah, 34 trillion, 34.5 trillion actually. And I remember when we started tracking this, maybe last year or something like that. This was actually under 100,000. This was the amount of debt per person. So national debt, that is. So now we're at 102,000, and our debt is expected to increase, right? So. It's an unfortunate situation of essentially the government spending too much money compared to how much we're taking in. So simple solutions would be cut spending, raise taxes. Like, it's just math. Like, you have to do both, right? And then the other issue is what's going to happen with how can I say, like, if medical costs even spiral even more out of control. So right now, for example, it's at 12,005, and within inflation, stuff like that, I've been seeing, insurance costs going up and medical services up, and you guys would know this, prescription drugs in the USA are not cheap. It's funny because I talk about Tesla on this channel, and it's mostly just a proxy for talking about cars and depreciating assets as not being great investments or use of your money, because I know that many young people on social media, they like to brag about, whatever car they have, etc. But I want you just to be thinking about this. Like, I'm showing you the situation of an older person who, and my friend, they're educated. They're actually, pretty good with their money. Just, it's not their fault necessarily that the way the system works is like, hey, your Medicare is no good. And so if you're on a fixed income and inflation and costs of everything going up, and I think they live in Florida, so then your home insurance, is going to go up like crazy lately as well. Like, it's harder to adjust because you're not working anymore, right? Moreover, like, for example, talking about the choices you make today, how it affects you tomorrow. Say if you buy a car, for example, I always use cars as an example, and it turns out that these things depreciate. They go down in value. So say you love year 3, and after 5 years you lose about 42.9% of your money, something like that. It may, and this chart may be off a bit, but it's just a general perspective. Even if you buy a Chevy Bolt, down 50-some%. It's not just EVs. Let's say you want to buy a truck, your depreciation. So I guess trucks are a little bit better, I guess, but not great. 35% depreciation, or the average is like 38. Your EVs are 50% depreciation, etc. SUVs 40. You guys get the point of this. The basic gist is you buy your vehicle and it's actually going to go down in value. Moreover, something I want to bring to your attention, and why are we talking about this stuff? Because I want you to be thinking about how can you be building wealth to secure your future, opposed to buying things where you're essentially losing money, right? Losing investments. So we talk about a lot of this full self-driving stuff, and one thing I was thinking about is, so this article is saying that, hey, maybe you can transfer your FSD. There's been some debate online and forums about whether you can. FSD be your software package through Tesla, and like if you change cars, can you take it with you? Because some people have spent like 12K on this thing, and let's say you sell your car, is your software connected to said car? I remember Tesla wants you to spend like $99 a month on the subscription, the same way that medical thing. That's why I was thinking about that. A lot of companies are pushing to that kind of model. Moreover, there's all these people out there that want to get new cars. The average car payment is like $738. It's so ridiculous. And it depends like what interest rate you got. So some people got a really high interest rate. I guess used cars 532. My advice is just pay cash for cars, because you're getting killed on interest and depreciation. And I also want to think about this, and something I want to show you guys. And again, I'm showing you my friend's situation because my friend was a working professional, him and his wife. And I actually think my friend also worked, I think he worked as I want to say counselor or psychiatrist, something like that. Like he wasn't always just professor. He was like I think the phrase would be like clinical psychiatrist. So he had a job at one and then maybe teach 1 or 2 classes at Florida, something like that. What if you took your FSD money that Musk wants, your $100 a month? What if you took that $100 a month and I did a conservative, at 6% rate of return. If you want to, play with the numbers, you can make it higher or lower. Did that for 10 years, you end up with 16,570, right? Or for example, instead of, buying your car new and taking out a loan and, spending $738 a month on that car that, you can impress all your friends, what if you invested that, just for example, and after 10 years, you got $121,000? Whereas, say, for example, the car, you're going to lose money in interest, paying back the dang loan, and then it's going to go down in value. And, let's say, for example, maybe you did pay cash for your car, whatever, you paid $60,000 or something like that. It's like, you lose half your money, so now you're down to $30,000, opposed to having 120. So you're like, plus 90. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Is like if you put your money in things that go up, you'll be in much better shape. With inflation, the numbers may show that like these are sort of your overall numbers, but everyone's situation is different, and that's why I always say that to you guys. Like if you're just doing what and I consider my friend a pretty bright person. Like you can tell his writing is really well, and he writes stuff on Facebook all the time, and that's this particular post just really caught my attention. Is because like they're financially savvy as well. I don't think they do any like crazy stuff, but the medical costs are no joke. This is something that I've talked to you guys about before on the channel. So this is just unfortunately my family history. My dad died of cancer, and recently my mom just died of cancer. I told you guys about that, and actually my sister has cancer like right now, so she's still alive. So I'm high risk for that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you guys know, this stuff ain't cheap. It's not. It's just reality. It doesn't matter what kind of situation that you're in. It's really a ludicrous amount of money. And one of the advantages for us here in Korea is I have like full coverage, basically cancer insurance, which is really good. But who knows? There's been talk, and I have through the government, and also have I don't know if it's private. I don't know if that's right. Maybe it is. You have to ask my wife. But we signed up for basically the cancer one. But it is a very, very different system here, because it's like reasonably affordable. I think we pay $100 a month or something like that total for me. And again, that'll cover cancer. I think there'll probably be some limits. I don't know if it's like unlimited coverage of cancer, that kind of stuff. But and it's not fun to talk about these kind of things, right? Because you don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. But it's practical planning, because and this is sort of why I want to show you guys these charts and stuff, because you want to solve your problems before they occur, right? So then you don't have a problem. It's kind of like thinking of it this way. The reason why you eat healthy today, the reason why you exercise today, is it keeps you out of the hospital, basically. Keeps you from getting sick. It keeps you from getting obese. All of these kind of things, and it prevents future costs. The same way that like, hey, put your money in something that goes up in value, opposed to putting your stuff in money that goes down in value. So again, guys, I hope you understand that the point of this video and why I'm having to chat with you is just a real talk about. I was sorry to hear about my friend's situation with the, doctors doesn't take Medicare and they got to change doctors or whatever. So, And I know we have other people in the community that might be facing this kind of thing also. I'd like to hear from you. So this is the first I've heard of this stuff. Yeah, I feel sorry for this. And again, think about ways to secure your future opposed to just showing off money now. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying with this. So anyway, please share your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you next video.